love this way. Love this way. I can't unsee Keenan Anderson, face twisted in fear, elbow on neck, arms outstretched, manipulated by officers of the so-called peace. Help, help, please, please. They're trying to George Floyd me, he said. Tased over and over again, taser on the body delivering the current like a paddle to the heart. Except it stopped his. 4 hours later, George Floyded indeed. I can't unsee the defiant look in Officer Chauvin's face and the casualness of his hands in his pockets as life leaves George Floyd's body. I can't unsee Aubrey running, hunted, killed, Michael's dead body on the hot asphalt, Rodney's arms, no shelter from the over and over again landing of blows on his black body in a California highway. I can't unsee gas-masked peace officers on horseback, charging an innocent marching band, beating them, trampling them, bones broken, heads cracked open. I can't unsee dogs snapping, biting children, hoses turned on children, bombs destroying churches and children praying there. I can't unsee Martin's still warm body, fallen body, shot dead, surrounded by friends, killed by an enemy, our shared enemy. One man pulls the trigger, but King is dead, casualty to the disease we have not cured, the mutating, adaptive, resilient, shape-shifting, virulent disease from which America has not recovered, an endemic, persistent disease called white supremacy. Our nation's history is founding on stolen land, its construction by stolen, enslaved bodies, its systems designed to oppress and disenfranchise anyone not white, male, straight, Christian, and wealthy, its economy, healthcare, housing, education, law, courts, all super spreaders, ultimately indiscriminate. Indigenous folks, Asians, Latinx, Hispanic folks, immigrants, Jews, Muslims, the poor, queer folks, disabled folks, trans folks, women, all vulnerable, and white supremacy will take you out. Black people, like me, perhaps the most vulnerable, because white supremacy keeps on killing us. I'm so tired. I'm so tired. And I'm so sad and so angry. In this ebullient music and this joyful worship celebration, I feel sick to even say it, but I'm also sick at the sight of dead black bodies. It just keeps on killing us. It just keeps on killing us. And even though we're celebrating the life of Dr. King, we're celebrating it because he was shot dead on a balcony in Lorraine. Whiteness killed him too. White supremacy takes us out, and when it takes any of us out, when it kills our bodies, hunts and kills, tases our bodies to death, it has an after effect, and that is soul sickness. Soul sickness to the perpetrator, soul sickness to the observer. Aren't you sick of those pictures in your feed? And soul sickness to the nation. White supremacy is sickening. And America is sick with it still. Honoring a dead civil rights leader's birthday won't cure it. Taking a few classes can't contain it. Having 2 or 3 black friends will not inoculate you from it. That's not awake enough. The only cure for hatred like this? Love. Love. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Dr. King said, only light can do that. Hatred cannot drive out hatred. Only love can do that. So these texts preached by a Jew named Yeshua, Jesus. P.S. by the way, Christians that are anti-Semitic are anti-Jesus and are anti-God. Do not pretend. Do not pretend. Jesus is a Jew born in Bethlehem in Judea, raised in Nazareth in Galilee by Jewish parents, studying Jewish Torah, studying Jewish text. And so when he's asked by the rich young ruler or the scribe or whoever it is that asks him basically, what does it mean to do the right thing? What's the most powerful commandment of all? And Jesus answers the question by quoting Torah, quoting Leviticus and quoting Deuteronomy and putting them together. You will love your God with your whole heart, your whole mind, and your whole strength. And the second like it, you will love your neighbor as yourself. Love God, love neighbor, love self. Love, period. It's been said. Everything else is commentary. Love God with all the stuff you have, not a part of the stuff you have, not with your Sunday morning stuff, not with your Friday night stuff, with your everyday, all day, 24/7 stuff, life, resources, passion, wisdom, knowledge, curiosity, behavior, ethics. Give it all to God. Love God with it all because it all belongs to God. It all comes from God. It's on rent to us. Love God with everything you have. Love God with everything you have. And the proof of loving God with everything you have is to love the neighbor. My Jewish friends know that their scripture says love the stranger because you were once strangers in a strange land. Only one time does it say love neighbor. Love the stranger. Love the alien. Love the one not like you, the one who doesn't look like you. Love the one you don't like. Love them. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Because you and the neighbor belong to God. And each of us is a sumsa of God, created in God's image, a divine spark inside us. How dare we not love what God loves? How dare we not love what's inside the one that God created? This is found in these passages on holiness. What does it mean to be a holy community, a whole community? How we treat the poor, how we treat the stranger, how we treat the rich. That's what it says in Leviticus. No one is to be discriminated against. No one is to hate a brother or a sister. And in fact, all the world's major religions say this in different ways. Judaism, love your neighbor as yourself. Love the stranger. You were once strangers. Christianity, do unto others as you'd have them do unto you. Islam, do not withhold from someone that which you need for yourself. And our Sikh, you say Sikh, but as Sikh brothers and sisters say, don't do anything to break someone else's heart. Wow, what if our bar was that high? They're talking about Ubuntu. This pre-Christian, pre-Judaism, early world human philosophy, born, developed in South Africa from where we all come. Hello, Africans, one and all. Umuntu, Ngubuntu, Ngabantu. A human is a human through other humans. There is no singular word for human. A human is a human through other humans. We are human because we are all alive and on the planet. I am who I am because you are who you are. To quote a movie, you complete me. We are tied together in a web, a garment of destiny. I can't be fully who I am until you're fully who you are. This is what Ubuntu means. I can't thrive while you're suffering. I'm not free while you're in shackles. Anti-Semitism is a scourge on all of us because Jewish people are God's people, is Jesus' people, is my people. Do you understand what I'm saying? Racism is a scourge on all of us because every black child arrested in their classroom for being sassy, every black man chased and hunted, everyone who can't breathe is your sibling and a divine child of God. Love this way. God, I was so upset yesterday I couldn't write. I just could only see Keenan's face and flash back to Eric Garner, face on the sidewalk. Ruby Sales is one of my mentors. And if anybody has a right to be sort of angry and upset with white people, it's Ruby, it's my dad, it's the black people of their generation, right? For whom Jim Crow was a reality and segregation a reality. All those kids sitting at lunchroom counters getting the crap beat out of them so they could sit and order a hamburger. All those people have the right to hate, but they don't. Ruby says, the freedom I had as a young woman was to know that though white people would try to take away my dignity, they could not claim my heart, and I was to love all of the people all of the way. Nobody could make me hate. Love this way. Love this way. Love this way with fierce love, refusing to pretend that we have overcome, because that's a lie, but instead claiming the truth of the path we can be on together to heal this world of what's broken. One of my favorite rabbis, Rabbi Daniel Hartman, says an ethical life is learning how to see. Not learning how to squint and pretend like we're all the same, but learning how to see and love, celebrate, delight in the differences that our neighbors bring to the table. And be thinking to ourselves, darn, God is so shiny and sparkly for making all of this diversity in which we can have joy. Learning how to see the pain of the other is your pain. Learning how to see their joy is your joy. Learning how to see. A life of indifference is not an ethical, moral life. We've got to see it, and as Lewis would say, John Lewis, say something about it and do something about it. Love this way. Love not sitting on our laurels. Love not looking back at the past. Love looking like, what am I going to do today personally to create a more just society? How am I going to shop? Where am I going to spend my money? How am I going to live? Where am I going to live? What kind of toys will I buy my children? What kind of representation will I curate? What kind of music will I listen to? Books will I read? What kind of shows will I watch that invites me into the empathic life of the other? Love this way. Love with holy curiosity. Love with compassion. Love without judgment. Love that means to delight in the particularity of the other. My professor, Jim Loader, says, delight in the quirky, queer, weird, wonderful, gay, straight, black, shiny, sparkly, odd, unlikableness of the other. Because if we can delight in their prickly parts, we can delight in ours. If we can love their otherness, we can love the strangeness of ourselves. Love this way. The other is a book to read, a story to understand, a relationship to build, a dynamic in which to participate, because they belong to God and we belong to God, and that's our calling, is to be a laboratory of love, a safe space, a brave space for love. To love outside the lines, to love outside the boundaries, to cross borders and create new borders, to get to the border where we will be changed and transformed. To live with rule-breaking kindness, to give up our power and share it with the other, and create new modes of relating and new norms of being that do not mirror white supremacist crap that we all have inherited. We could be concessional. We could be collaborative. We could decide that the first could be last and the last could be first. We could center children. We could honor vulnerability. We could transform the way we see ourselves. I know there's going to be lots of stories about King and quotes about King in these next couple of days. But I want to talk about Edna Benitez for one moment, who's a Puerto Rican lesbian whose island was decimated in a storm called Maria, who raised thousands and thousands of dollars to fix houses in Puerto Rico and learned how to fix roofs herself. I want to talk about love that way. I want to talk about how Susan and Claudia and Yusuf, when they watched their building burn down in December of 2020, did not feel sorry for themselves. Instead, took the neighbors shopping because they were smoked out of their house. I want to talk about love like that. I want to talk about love like Josh Stanton. Who, in the midst of rising anti-Semitism, whose own personal narrative, his own grandfather, whose own life can testify to the way white supremacist, white nationalist, white Christian crap can kill a people, because that's what happened. But rather than harbor resentment, he flings open his synagogue to a church to say, y'all come. Come, my people. I want to talk about love like that. And there are so many more stories like that in this community. You love so hard, so well, so good, and yet I'm going to push us a little bit further. A little bit more love, a little bit less self, a little bit more courage, a little bit less fear, a little bit more dancing with the other, and a little less tribalism. A little bit more risk-taking. We don't have to be shot to death to be martyred. We could bear witness to God's love by loving outside the bounds. Love this way. Love this way. Don't stop looking at what's hard. Love through the hard. Love this way. Our God with everything we have, our neighbor like ourselves, which means love you too. Love this way, and we'll heal the world. Thanks be to God.